So here in the Philippines, excuse me, we never have just one. We never have just one answer for all problems. You know, there are lots of different problems,
Yeah.
and each has its own answer. But where do you think the greatest emphasis maybe should be placed here in the Philippines to?
Okay, we have national laws, we have national government agencies. The solutions have to be done in the local area. Like economy and politics. Politics and economy is local. It's not done nationally. It's done locally. Unless you can solve the problems locally, it will never be solved even by the national government or by the international funding agency coming to help you. It has to be solved locally.
So it all goes back to this. We've talked about this on the show very often. We're looking for local heroes.
Yeah.
We have to focus down at the barangay level and have the community involved.
Have the community involved,
all
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Hopefully with the help of the local government and the local businessmen, the local service organizations, cooperating together with the church. Everybody should be working together because it's a common problem. It can only be solved by everybody working together to solve it.
And the people in the local area actually know what the problems are because
they have to
affected
understand
by
what the
them.
problem is, and this is where the NGOs come in. They are very fond of teaching people without charging for it, and they can explain things in a very simple way, and this is what the environmental groups mainly do, education. And unfortunately, our teachers in the public education, a lot of them who supposedly teach science have never studied science in their college preparation, so they're not the teachers. They should undergo training so that they can give the proper science training to the children, and it's the children who teach their parents. And so if you teach the wrong science, they will teach the wrong science to their parents. So we have to start with the right science trained teachers, and if they can't do that, then the environmental NGOs are too happy to try to fill in the space needed for teaching good science to good people so that they can do natural resource conservation and protection.
Good. And the natural resources in the Philippines, again, you know, you have forestry, minerals, of course, you know, are
fisheries, coastal ecosystems, coral reefs.
The other ones. Coral reefs, is there a problem? You know, everywhere in the world I read the coral reefs are disappearing or being eaten away.
The coral reefs, one effect of global heating is that the carbon dioxide, when it gets absorbed into the ocean, becomes carbonic acid, and this acidification of the ocean will kill the coral reef sponges that are living. The algae that are living inside the coral reef will live, and they will be bleached, and that's why the coral reefs are getting bleached because it's getting too hot and getting too acidic.
So that's being caused by global heating as well.
Yeah,
then.
global heating and acidification that is a result of the carbon dioxide being absorbed into the ocean. And then the acid can also actually melt the exoskeleton of crabs, of shrimps, and of other animals that have exoskeletons, like the turtles. And you will eventually have an ocean in about 40 years that will not have any more fish, but instead have things like bacteria, viruses, and jellyfish. No more other fish. That's it.
I'm not real fond of jellyfish. I've been swimming. I've come around before, yeah. So you said that these chemicals then are eating away the shells of tortoises?
Of tortoises, of crabs, and of shrimps. It can acidify, can dissolve the exoskeleton.
So this means that the yield of if we're harvesting shrimp or something
will go
else,
down, and the quality will go down. Yeah.
And have we already seen this, or is this a theoretical that this is going to happen, or
no? It's happening
now?
already. It's happening already. Yeah.
Here in the Philippines, or
well, I don't know about the Philippines because one problem is we don't have that much basic research being done surveying these effects. But there was a recent event, for example, that's happening now in California. They have hundreds of walruses that are gathering together in coasts of California because they're starving. There's nothing to eat anymore. There's no fish to eat.
Really?
That's what's happening.
Wow. So we're having problems. We're losing fish. Okay.
We'll be losing all the fish in the world by 2050. All the fishing areas are being fished out.
By 2050?
50, yeah. The fish that is not being eaten by people is being used to produce fish oil or to feed fish farms. The problem is when you catch fish, you essentially catch more females than males.
Okay.
And you will eventually drive the population down because you don't have females, you won't have any more baby fish.
Why do you catch more females than males?
Because they're the ones that look more plump, easier to catch, and they don't swim as fast.
Wow.
That's what's happening, yeah.
But we're actually we're gonna run out of fish
We're going to run out of fish, yeah.
in 40 years.
Yeah, by 2050, in
Yeah. 40 years from
40
now.
years, 40 years, yeah.
from now.
This is the finding by the UNEP FAO, the Food Agriculture Organization, United Nations Environmental Program. Yeah.
That's not very
Not for a
optimistic
fish-eating country,
news, is
yeah.
it? No,
Yeah.
it's pretty tough. What about other animals? How are they affected by?
Well, you have the funny thing now is it's not funny, but it's sad. Your polar bears in the Arctic, because they're used to walking on ice. If the ice is melting, there's nothing to walk on, and if there is no more fish, they start eating their own cubs, and they start drowning because they can't swim that far.
Cannibalism then.
Cannibalism, and they start drowning because they don't know how to swim anymore.
And this is happening in
Right now, in
the
Antarctic,
Arctic,
yeah,
is
yeah.
it? Wow.
So the polar bears and the walruses are geared towards extinction because of the effect of global warming on them, on their food.
And,
On their
we're
habit.
seeing the effects on the walruses in California at this
Yeah,
at
this time,
point?
yeah, yeah.
Really? Wow. So we've got polar bears are in trouble.
Uh-huh.
Walruses are in trouble. Fish are in trouble. That's going to put human beings in.
We're the ones
a
who
bit of
caused
a
all the trouble, yeah. We'll end up being in more trouble than them, yeah.
Right. Well, that was the point that Matthias made last week. He says, look at Earth will abide. You know,
Of course, it will survive us,
Earth will
yeah.
survive, but
Yeah.
we won't.
You won't, you won't, yeah, we
We're
won't,
not
yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
And that's
And we don't have a second chance to evolve again.
right. Guys, you know, as I was saying before, maybe our problem in selling this is the way that we're selling it. You know, if we talk and say, well, 2050, you know, you and I aren't going to be around in 2050.
Well, that's another.
That's the hard thing about selling it. How do we sell it to somebody and saying, hey, here's what we do so it's going to be better tomorrow, you know?
Okay, but the basic problem is this. Natural phenomena don't happen within a year. It takes
Right.
2 years, 5 years,
Right.
10 years, 50 years. And the problem is, of course, our social systems, our political systems plan only 3 years, elections, annual budgeting, and the corporations, annual profits. So everybody's short-term minded, but the nature around us is long-term minded.
Well, you know, and we got to be short-term minded here as well because we're
Yeah.
out of time
Yeah.
this evening. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for coming, Roger.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Also, for all of you out there, if you've got some comments or things you'd like to say about this, write me, email me at larry@lbrouhard.com, and if you've got some comments you'd like to give to Roger, I'll make sure that he gets them from you. And I'd like to thank you once again for inviting us into your homes. Wouldn't be any fun without you. Until next time, straight ahead.